Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're at, ladies and gents. I am Kurojiri, your resident tinker and Medarotter, and this is the Medarot News Network, bringing you all the latest developments and happenings with our favorite pet fighting robot series. Now, as we crest into the second half and week 2 of the 3.5-year anniversary, they've certainly had us a very big surprise lying in wait. Last week, we had the introduction of 2 new Archangel types, Uriel and Rafalt. This time around, we're going on the other end of the spectrum with a series that's always been popularly and belovedly known throughout the entirety of the Medarot franchise, and that is a new DVL type, as you see here. Sporting the cute look, but a very dangerous backstory and appearance based on how far you decide to dig. That being said, though, let's go ahead and jump right into what was announced for this week's episode, of course starting off with the Gacha banners and highlight who we'll be seeing this week between new players and old alike. Starting the lineup, of course, in our Girl of the Hour is the new Devil type DVL-04 Gothic Mate, with a kit of Big Bang, Double Railgun, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of Pure Heart. Now, much like her predecessor Blossomail, she also is capable of transforming into a more powerful-like form, trading in her entire kit for Inferno, Double Ghost. Her leg type stays biped, but her ability changes to Auto Charge, which, being completely honest, probably will make her the most powerful DVL type to date in the 25 years the series has been around. Even stronger than that of the mighty Blossomail that you see right next to her, with Destroy, Double Sacrifice, Biped Legs, and Bloodstain. Just the skills that Gothic Mate packs alone means that she's going to be an absolute terror on the field no matter what form she's in. Then, of course, as mentioned, we do also have DVL-03 Blossomail with Destroy, Double Sacrifice, Biped Legs, and Bloodstain, who also is capable of also transforming into a multi-ped form, changing the kit out entirely for Triple Destroy, multi-ped legs, and also retaining the Bloodstain ability. Now, not just for the fact that we're getting a new DVL type in the series that is a reason to see Blossomail again, but also for sake of mentioning that Blossomail will also be receiving the tune-up treatment, and will be the first model in Medarot S that is capable of meta change and tuning up. Now, that's not quite sure to say if the tune-up will work both ways, or if you have to choose between which form gets the tune-up treatment. But still, all the same, a wonderful addition, and still great to see this returnee come back and grace the spotlights once again. In addition to these two, we're also, of course, getting reruns of the OG Archangel and Archdevil types, starting with AAG-0 Particle, with Mirror Guard, Stat Cleanse, Revive, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of Auto Repair. Also capable of meta change, Particle exchanges her entire kit out for Counter Guard, Super Repair, Time Attack, leg type to Tank, and the leg ability to Holy Grace, which makes her arguably one of the most powerful healers probably currently still in-game, and even in current meta, Particle still stands up there as one of the best when it comes to negating ailments, resurrecting broken parts, and keeping HP as high as possible. Grain, on the other hand, ADV-0 is packing a kit of Metaphor Seal, Confusion, Static, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of Blowbeat. Also capable of transforming, Grain will exchange his entire kit out for Pile, Destroy, Count-Attack, Float Legs, and the leg ability of Adversity. Very stark contrast between the two of these, between the Master Healer and the Master Interrupter, and it's pretty much been this way ever since their original debut and original final battle that first took place in the days of Medarot 4. With the fierce battles we have going on this week, it's gonna be largely females week only this particular week, which isn't particularly bad, but still a lot of models we have not seen for a while, but still very well-versed parts between them. Starting the lineup on there, we have MDZ-0 Meduzard with a kit of Freeze, Sword, Counter Guard, Multi-Legs, and the leg ability of P-Loader. Behind her, we have LDB-03 Ptolemy from the days of Medarot Navi with a kit of Scope, Rifle, Gatling, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of Gunman. And then, last but not least, the OG Magical Girl type FSL-0 Fancy Roll, with a kit of Virus, Hammer, Napalm, Flight Legs, and the leg ability of Mascot. Now, between the 3 models here, it actually was kind of tricky to decide who actually had more value than the other, because between Meduzard, Freeze and Sword, and Multi-Legs with P-Loader, Ptolemy with basic rifle and Gatling, or even Fancy Roll with her very well-versed and diverse interruption conventional-based kit, you really can't go wrong with any model you choose to put the most time into raising or collecting. Now, of course, that means it never hurts just to have the parts on hand, just in case you might need them, but if you're looking for parts dedicated toward female bots and rounding out your library, this is most certainly going to be the week for you, to capitalize not just on conventional melee, but also with conventional shooting as well between all three bots. Now, in terms of events and such coming up, they did announce we do have a return of Marathon Survival, which is probably the fastest we've ever seen it come back, since we just had the last of the 7 Lucky Gods come out just the other week with the return of this as well. But for those that are out of the loop, relatively new to the game, or unaware of what this is, Marathon Survival plays by rather interesting rules, but is very, very lucrative if you can make it to the end. When challenging a round, any parts you use upon victory will be added to a banned list, which means you will not be allowed to choose those parts again unless you can refresh them or reach a checkpoint which resets the list. Marathon Survival not only is lucrative, but also a very good test and check to make sure that you've been staying up to date on raising parts that you perhaps may not use as often if at all, or even have some parts sitting on the back burner on standby that you perhaps even forgot that you had, just to make use of and see just how far you can go, testing your limits with flexibility and with team comps. Now, with the 3.5-year anniversary specifically, this week, of course, we are traveling into week 2 and part 2 of the event. As expected, it is going to be a ticket-based event, this week highlighting the rewards based on blue tickets of the Meta Wheel of Fortune. This week, however, with the second half of the event, we have access to very, very special rewards this time, such as a new character to the game, Medarot Cassia, who is supposedly going to be the handler for Gothic Mate in the game and in the story, as the story of Arase, Cross, and Hisaki does progress. We also have access to the previously unobtainable Angel Medal, with a kit with a mastery in support, healing, and defense, and leg masteries in biped, flight, and floating. And then lastly, a number of the other big rewards that were mentioned were voice lines for Shushu Pop, or Shushu 2, and Ranuncula, the sadistic Medarotter and master of Ranuncula's games, through the story arc that is currently ongoing. Of course, with the addition of these rewards, we also have access to many, many more that can very easily top up your resource inventory, especially if you have been running low on things such as energy tanks, medallium, NFRP chips, or even cyplasium to the point. And just for the sake of mentioning it, if you wonder what to do after this event, if you have managed to complete box 10 of the red tickets, you will see that a new box has opened up. This, you can basically pump any and all tickets into as freely as you please, because the rewards on that one never run out. This means you can potentially get infinite gacha tickets in the Spotlight banner and Cyplasium, among other very valuable resources. So I do heavily and greatly encourage that if you have not been already, highlight and capitalize on spamming the ever-loving daylights out of that event to make sure that you can make the most of the resource acquisition you have at your disposal. With the event itself, again, with it being ticket-based, we will be getting the blue ticket bonuses this time. And because it is ticket-based, it is also mixed parts encouraged. This means that if you perhaps do manage to get lucky and snag Gothic Mate, spread those parts out across your teammates for a +4 bonus per part across the team among your 3 allies. Now, inversely, if you only manage to get Particle, Green, or Blossom Mail at a +2, or if you and don't have quite the bonuses, you can go after the Fierce Battles at +1 each. For Medarotters, it's going to be largely the same case. Anniversary Kirara at a +4 for the blue ticket bonuses, whereas SR rank Arase and R rank Cassia will give you a +2 each, and the N rank versions or R rank versions, respectively, will also give you a +1 each. So compared to last week, I want to say this one is probably going to be a little more unforgiving with the gachas, primarily for the reason that all 4 bots being highlighted, Gothic Mate, Blossom Mail, Particle, and Grain, are all meta change type models. That means in the gacha banner, as far as the rules go, you either pull it or you don't. There is no such thing as a pity part unless you have about 400 rubies to burn. At that point, I'd say you may want to cut your losses a little bit early unless you're absolutely dead set desperate on who's in. So just a fair warning of that, if the gacha does seem unforgiving, that is the specific reason for it. Lastly, in terms of in-game news, we are also, of course, getting a 3.5-year anniversary Super Invasion featuring Rafalt, Uriel, and Gothic Mate to grace the game as well. So if you find yourself just a little short on rubies and Cyplasium and need something to top you up, this will be a very good way to make use of that pretty quickly and collect a commemorative nameplate you can use to celebrate and show, hey, you were there and you enjoyed the event. There's no real saying on what the rules or modifiers for this one might be, so good chance it may or may not just be overclocked medals, but do not quote me on that. On the community front, on the other hand, we are still always looking for translators to assist us with any translation projects or endeavors currently ongoing. Right now, the big game changes are going towards Medarot 3 and Medarot 4, with a little bit of a back burner project on the Reloaded manga. We do have a lot of the endeavor of Medarot 3 currently finished, about 60 to 70% or so, if what I heard from Variant is correct, but there is still a lot of text that needs directly translated before it can be put back in the game. So if you are knowledgeable in coding or cleaning or Japanese and have some time on your hands, feel free to reach out to me or join us in our Discord in the link provided below to ask around, and we'll get you in touch with the right people that can fill you in. As well as other news when it comes to the community, we are still running the Ori Meta contest in our Discord server until the end of the month, about August 5th or so, not long after. So I have not seen a lot of entries, really. I do find that just a little bit disappointing because I was hoping you guys would really knock my socks off with this one after you did the last one back for my birthday. So I'm not sure if maybe it was just bad timing, which could very easily be the case. I'm not mad at anything or upset. And if that be the case, I would be more than open to the possibility of maybe hosting another one, maybe closer to Halloween or so as a spooky kind of theme, and see where we go from there. But again, join us in our Discord below if you'd like to keep up to date on that and where we need information and help. With the weekly art highlights here on the MNN this week, this one actually came out pretty quick, I'm honestly not gonna lie. Pikugatu was absolutely quick on the draw with a special fan art highlighting the release of Gothic Mate and her Medarot Cassia with their introduction to the game. So wonderful work, Pikugatu, and boy do you work fast, honestly, when it came to putting that out. And then, of course, Koichi129, also on Twitter. I have actually followed Koichi for quite some time, actually. Their art almost never disappoints, and the very stylistic design of the Medarots, as well as the eye design, as you see here with Metabi, is something very easily a sight to behold. So wonderful work to both of them. Definitely give both of these users a follow as well if you'd like to see more Medarot art in your feeds. You most certainly will not be disappointed. But with all that being said, I believe that covers pretty much everything for this week's episodes. Again, not a whole lot was really mentioned aside from just some minor interviews with Fujioka Kenki, who was the artist for Gothic Mate, with his experiences of working as a designer for Medarot, as well as some other news such as some of the original early volumes of earlier Medarot manga being made officially into ebooks that can be sold and made available. But with all that being said, if you'd like to know more, you can follow us below on Facebook at the Medarot News Network page or the Metabots Forever community on there. You can also join us on Discord in the link provided and in the comments below. And this is where you'll keep an even closer ear to the ground on the action. This includes any new merchandise, new art, my weekly episodes, or even any translation updates or requests. That's the first place you're going to hear them before they go anywhere else. You can also reach out to me personally on Twitter at Isagami-kura, so if you have any questions or feedback or comments or just love to stop in and say hello, I leave my DMs open for that very reason, so don't hesitate, stop on in, drop a hello, and I'll get back to you when I can. In addition, if you are a streamer, VTuber, or YouTuber and would love to collaborate, whether that means having you here on my show as a guest host, or me stopping in on yours for a friendly game or a friendly chat, I would absolutely love to coordinate with you. So feel free to reach out to me via those DMs and we'll definitely make something happen. Do also give these wonderful friends of mine a follow as well. Twitter user Variant at VariantXYZ, who is one of the main spearheads of the Medarot 3 translation, and I did actually have an interview with him and Wyzit, one of the other big heads for that translation, about a year or so ago when I last had them on my channel. Now, as progress from them, again, it is going on about 60-70% or so, but still a lot of text. He did recently open up a crowdfunding link, which I will also provide in the links below, because as much as we'd love to do this as kind of a passion project, there's just far too much text that needs to be translated for one or even two or three or even a group of people to do it. And we would love to be able to crowdsource that so we can get those games out faster, so we can enjoy more of the early games in English just as they set out to do with the original Medarot 1, currently with 3, and even future with Medarots 4, 5, and onward. Do also give my buddy Lux a follow as well on Twitter at the Medarotter Lux, who, much like me, tends to take kind of an outside ear to the ground on the action in terms of anything related to Medarot or Medarot S, and posts very frequently a lot of blogs and number breakdowns in terms of how the game behaves, event likelihoods, number multipliers and combinations, or even just his overall thoughts on things as they progress. And I have collaborated with him a number of times via conversation or stuff I've had on here in the past, so definitely give him a follow as well if you'd like to hear his thoughts on things. But with all that being said, again, I do appreciate you all for stopping in just as you always do, and until next time, this is your host, Kura Isagami of the Medarot News Network, signing out.